Hello everybody, and welcome to this first introduction to this book, The Face of Adam, Alchemy of Creation and Nikola Tesla's 369 Code. This book is available on Amazon, as you can see from the link here. You can actually access it from Amazon and have a copy for yourself. Now, The Face of Adam, Alchemy of Creation and Nikola Tesla's 369 Code is a book which is derived based on Tesla's statement that if only you knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. Now, the presentation of this book, this will just be the introduction. So let's have a look at what we need to cover. We will consider why the title is The Face of Adam. We'll also consider why we are saying it's Nikola Tesla's 369 code, and we are working from that statement, and why we also refer to it as Alchemy of Creation. Then to do so, we first look at the literature on the 369 code. There are some theoretical approaches that have been used before to study the 369 code. Then we look at the possible genesis of Nikola Tesla's statement. Why did he refer to that statement of the 369 code? Is there a practical genesis to it? And then we look at the likely gap to address based on the theoretical approach that is in literature, and see whether then this book here tries to address that gap. So in terms of the statement, he said, if only you knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. So that was by Nikola Tesla. So then let's have a look at just something based on what we have talked about. So that is the statement. So let's look at what literature states in terms of the review. Okay, so we'll have a look at this here, right? So consider the diagram as shown. Okay, let's consider this diagram here, and we are going to map 9 numbers on this diagram. So we have a 1. Okay, let's use blue. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? And 9. And in literature, you will see that you probably have seen somewhere that we can actually map 6, 9, and 3 on a different triangle here, which denotes a different mapping, and we will see why. Now, in this map, we are able to tell that the sum of 8 and 1 will give us a 9. Sum of 7 and a 2 will be a 9. 6 and 3 will be a 9. 5 and 4 would also be a 9. And that is the same like if you are go rotationally. So we have a 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 being on the outer circle, the blue one, and we have a 3, 6, 9 being on the purple triangle. And if we go counting from 9, we go to 10, you can see that actually that will take us to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And if you sum the digits, 1 plus 0 is still a 1, so it's similar to this. 1 plus 1 is a 2. 1 plus 2 is a 3. So actually, this can go on and on and on. So what we are seeing here is that this is referred to as vortex maths, right? And the sum of the digits in vortex would actually have a maximum of 9. So we will not have a value which is more than 9 if you sum the digits of all the numbers in vortex. What is actually happening here is called modulo 2 or modulo 9 addition. Modular addition just means you divide a certain number by 9, and determine the remainder. For example, we can have an example where we divide, let's say 17 by 9. So here will be 1, go there 1, and the remainder would be 8 out of 9. So the modulo, the result that we are supposed to take is that, okay, which is the same as, by definition, the same as 1 plus 7, which is actually 8. So that's what actually it means. In vortex maths, you'll have a modulo 9 addition. We can have another example, maybe 23 divided by 9. We know this will be 2, 18, and the remainder would be 5. Okay, so this would be the remainder. So that is also the same as 2 plus 3, which is 5. So this is modulo 9 addition. So with this map here, it has been used extensively in literature, if you read, to show the formation of certain patterns in the world. So maybe flowers, practically, you're able to see that you can actually use this kind of mapping and derive several mathematical, patterns or theories, results which actually depend on this kind of mapping. But that really does not give us a more practical map. How do we then relate it to Tesla's statement that this 3, 6, and 9 is will lead us to a secret in the universe? What is there in literature is that 3, 6, and 9 actually lie on a different plane as compared to the other numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. And actually, when you sum them, you realize that actually, indeed, 3, 6, and 9 lie on a different plane. But it's still difficult to map it to the practicability that Tesla was talking about. So then that takes us to the next step. Remember, we said we'll be considering the possible genesis of Nikola Tesla's statement. So we need at least a practical which is able to show us why Tesla mentioned that. So let's look at a case here. Sorry for that. Let's look at this case where we have probably, we are aware of some of the Tesla's inventions. The main one is actually the three-phase power, electricity. And how did he come up with this? We assume that now we can tell how Tesla used a similar map or vortex map to be able to come up with this three-phase power generation. So we consider a case where we have number 9 here being a source, which can be a dam, which is giving us a raised point where we're having water pouring onto a turbine here. Okay. When it pours on the turbine, then it's going to turn, okay, a magnet, and it's using here electromagnetic induction, where we have electric and magnetic fields actually interacting together to cause flow of charges. And that is what we're trying to analyze here. So what happens is that when the water pours onto this magnet here, it will turn, and then we have poles. We have certain poles here, okay, which are wired. So we have coils of wires, which is causing the electric field, and then we have the magnetic field here. So due to electromagnetic induction, when the field, the magnetic field and the electric field interact, then there's electromagnetic induction due to Faraday's law that actually takes place. So that electromagnetic force that is produced there can actually become an electric flow. So then we see that actually one point to note is that number 9 represents a source. Then number 3 and 6, actually there's movement there, so there's an exchange. So if this magnet were to go around this circle, okay, so it means at a certain point it will be exactly across the pole 5 and also pole 1. So when the north pole is at 1, the south pole here, we have a south pole here which will be on 5, okay. So it means if we tap, let's say we are using 1 and 5, so we have actually, this is point 1 and 5. So at that point, we will actually be producing, there will be a difference in the potential, in the potential field there. So between 1 and 5. Then this magnet can move to the point 4 and 8. So when the magnet is here at 4, this north pole will be here at 4, then the south pole will be at 8. Then we can actually tap another power, red face there. Okay, when it was at 1 and 5, we tap a yellow face. Then the magnet can also move such that the north pole is at 2, at 7. The north pole can actually be at 2, and then the south pole will be at 7. Okay, so in that case, again, we are able to tap a blue face from that point too. Okay, so it means then when there is power in a certain pair, maybe 4, 8, okay, 4 and 8, the rest of the poles will actually be no power at that moment. It's momentarily no power being tapped from the other poles. However, the movement of this magnet around the poles is so fast such that we are able to tap electricity all the time. So then it means the pair 4, 8 will give us the red face. The pair 1, 5 we can denote it as yellow face, and then the pair 2, 7 will give us the blue face. And then the rest of the poles actually can you wire them together. 7, 1 and 4, you wire them together to form the neutral point. Okay, so then what we can deduce from here, this is a practicability which was designed by Tesla himself. So this is Tesla's design. Now with this practical design, we can infer that actually, looking at this, because we are seeing the 8 points here plus the 9th point, looking at this, the main difference from the literature that we have looked at is that actually the points 3 and 6 actually do not lie on this surface, the blue surface. It's not on the outside, it's actually on the inside, and that is the secret that has been hidden for some time. When you look at literature, you'll note that probably a 6, as we have seen before, the point 6, 9 and 3 are actually placed also on this blue circumference. But from this, if we can say this probably is the genesis of Tesla's statement, then we can see that actually the points 3 and 6 actually are points which move, okay, but inside the blue circle. So they're actually inside. So it actually denotes a point inside. So with that understanding now, we have seen the gap there, which was probably in literature. With that understanding, now we can go back and see whether then we can see what is the likely gap that we need to address. Okay, what is the likely gap that we are likely to address? So we have seen that actually that is the main gap, that the point 3 and 6 are actually within the outer circle. So there's a concentric circle which we need to draw so that we have those points different from what we have seen. So then we go here and now redraw what we have seen, that the magnet is actually inside. So we are going to come up with this map here. So with this one, we are going to have two concentric circles. So we have the outer one, which is conventional, just like what we have seen in the literature, and then we have the inner one. Okay, so this inner one will give us the points 3 and 6. Okay, and now we are talking about the face of Adam. Why are we saying that? When you look at this map now, okay, when you look at this map that we have decoded, then you will realize that actually it's very similar to the human face. Okay, now we can see why we are talking about the face of Adam. You can see the point 8 and 1 Okay, let's use black so that we don't mess it up. Sorry for that. We can go back. That's blue, so we can use black to edit. So we can see the point 8, node 8 and node 1 are actually the eyes. Node 7 and node 2 can be the ears. We can represent it like that. And then node 5 and 4 actually the edges of the mouth. And we can see really the point 6 and 3 lie inside. And of course point 9 here being the brain, which is just like the Tesla's three-phase power. We are seeing that's the source of control, or the source for control of this magnet. So if you probably think of a magnet here. So here we know we have a breathing process here which happens in and out at the point 6 and 3. So with this understanding, then we can exactly map this into Tesla's three-phase power. We can see that actually it is exactly similar to the way the generation of electricity, three-phase electricity by Tesla. And with this understanding, then now we understand why we are talking about the face of Adam. Okay. Now again, we understand why we are talking about alchemy of creation, because this is exactly the face of a human being. And we also map it to the fact that we are talking about the code 369. So for the introduction, that is where it is. We can have a look at, maybe we can look at this. The fact that now we are able to map and we are able to relate probably what Tesla referred to in his practical implementation of three-phase power. This then allows us to proceed and show that actually in the first case, in the head, we actually have these points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, where we have the eye, we have the ears, we have the nose, 6, 3, and then 5, 4, the mouth. And we know definitely there, the mouth here would act as somewhere there's a passage in the mouth. The nose, there's an exchange of air. The ears gather information, and the eyes actually provide vision, and the brain controls the system. Why we are talking about alchemy of creation is the triplicity, because we'll see that actually the head is similar to the chest. Okay, and with that analogy, we can actually map the eyes to the breast, whether it's female or male. We can actually map the nose, the umbilical cord, where there's also exchange. So there's a functionality of exchange, okay, in the nose. And then we can also map the passage in the middle section, in the chest. We have the anus, where there's a passage, just like we have the mouth in the head section. Of course, the hand here, because we are talking about gathering in the ear, then in the chest section, you could see definitely then it is the hand that helps us to gather. So, see, same functionality. In the bottom section, we still have two balls in the bottom section. Whether it's female or male, we have the balls or the ovary, which act as the eyes. We have a passage, which is the urethra. Then we have also an exchange, which goes on between the penis and the vulva, which is in and out movement. So that provides us with the nose, because that's what allows us to exchange for reproduction. And then for gathering, we have the legs, which allows us to gather. So it acts like the ear in the bottom section. So you can see that actually there is this alchemy of creation, where whatever is in the head here is replicated in the chest section and also the bottom section. So really that explains why we are talking about the alchemy of creation and Nikola Tesla's 369 code and the face of Adam, because that's the genesis of the relationship that we are talking about. This is what we just showed about the practicality of Tesla's invention of the three-phase electricity. which is actually AC, alternating current, right? So we have a magnet there. So the dam here, water pours from the source. So 9 is actually a representation of a source. Talk about God, talk about brain, supernatural power, or whatever natural resource, you're talking about that source here. Okay, and now we're pouring water into that turbine, which is going to turn and cut, because we have winding. Okay, there are windings here, wire windings, to provide the electric and magnetic field. So we are going to cut that field with this magnet. So when the magnet is positioned at between 5 and 1, you can see we are able to tap. Okay, we are able to tap power from that. Sorry for that. Okay, and then when the magnet moves to position 7 and 2, we are able to tap. When it moves to position 4 and 8, we are also able to tap the red, yellow, and blue phases. And by wiring 7, 4, and 1 together in that triangle there that you're seeing there, okay, we are able to provide the neutral line, which helps with the return power. Okay, so that's what we explained, and that we can actually show how the movement of the magnet, all right, depending on the position of these poles that we have seen here. Okay, so these poles can actually be placed such that equally, such that the angle between them is actually 120 degrees. So from the middle here to there, to that, to that, so we have 120 degrees, equally 120 degrees, 120 degrees. Okay, so with that, then it means for the movement between 8 and 2, if it is 120 degrees, so we are going to have power being produced in the first circle, where we have the degree from 0 to 120. Okay, so we move from 0 to 120 when only one line will be active. So we are moving from this point to that point. So by the time the magnet moves from 8 to 2, then we are now, that power is flowing maximum at 8, going down until, not maximum at 8, from 8, then going down until the point 2. And at that point 2, we pick power from the next phase. And then by the time it reaches 5.5, we pick power from the next phase. So you can see that actually, let's go down. So from 0 to 120, we have the red phase, then we have the yellow phase going on the positive, and then after 240 degrees, we have the blue phase picking up. Okay, so we are able to have this power flowing, alternating current flowing among the three phases, okay, whose sum is actually the AC power that we have as an output. Okay, so that is the practicality of Tesla's invention there.